And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Sewing Show. Two guys from the Show Me State hopping on the mics. Michael Gaddis, the triple threat. What's up, man?
I'm glad to be
Show Me
the Show Me State.
Yeah. Royals fan. We can forgive him for that. He's a World Series champion, Michael Gaddis is right here.
Oh, I'm very proud. First time in 30 years I'm proud. It's easy to be a St. Louis fan.
Not right now.
Well, what, 1 or 2 years off from the World Series, that's bad for you guys? Try 30-year drought.
Oh, all right, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, now I feel bad. I'm glad you guys won that World Series, though. Pitchers and catchers, they got to be reporting like any day now, right, Noah?
Yeah, some of them actually have already gone. They're already there. Pretty exciting.
Game on. I'm ready for baseball season. All this crap about the Chargers leaving, my Rams left St. Louis. It's like, let's talk baseball.
Yeah, it's baseball time. I love baseball.
Hey, Dodgers have had a big drought, too, for a while.
Yes, they have.
Dodgers are a bunch of overpaid, has-been prima donnas. Yeah, that wasn't nice.
That hurts.
I'm building out a man cave at my house right now. I'm trying to get this done for baseball season. Like, I'm really excited.
I saw a picture of it.
Yeah,
it's coming along quite well.
Yeah, it is my pride and joy right now. So I'm trying to get ready for baseball season. We'll have you guys over, have some burgers.
Nice.
Anyway, Gad, it's good to have you on the show. We were just talking about Trump, politics, everything. I don't have to drag you into this, but what do you think of all this stuff, man?
I'm going to tell you something. I think, as much as everyone thinks this presidential election is really important, I think something happened this last weekend that's even more important.
Okay.
Justice Scalia dying. That is literally more important than who we choose for president, because ultimately that is just literally whoever appoints this next Supreme Court justice, it's going to tip the balance that's there. And remember, Supreme Court justices are there for life. Presidents are in for 4 years. So, and ultimately, any type of controversial issue, where does it end up? Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So Justice Scalia dying, to me, is more important than the presidential election.
Fascinating point of view from a guy who is an attorney, right? I got to remember that about you. You're not just a radio show host for a living. You're an attorney. You're doing real estate. So that's a big deal for you.
A big deal. And it should be a big deal for everybody, because ultimately, he has been a fixture on the right-hand side of the Supreme Court for a long time. Now, since his death has taken place, Obama, of course, is
going to appoint somebody.
That's right, and that's going to forever tip the balance of the Supreme Court. So
the Senate can block it.
They could, but that's going to affect them politically as well.
This is about to be just another layer of complexity in the political game leading up to the presidency, because that Obama is going to put I'm thinking he's going to put someone up there that there's no way they'll get accepted, and then the left is going to position it as the Republicans don't let us get anything done and blah, blah, blah. It'll be interesting to hear who he nominates. So he's going to nominate someone, but the Senate does not have an obligation to pass it through.
No, and
checks and balances.
It is a checks and balances, but it's still politics. And since this is a major election year, I mean, everyone is who draws a line. I mean, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, this is go time for them. And how they position themselves around this Supreme Court issue is going to really tell at the polls.
When do you expect to hear a nomination? Are they suggesting when Obama might nominate somebody?
Well, he says he's going to be very calculated about it, but I would probably imagine within 7 to 10 days.
That quickly?
Maybe, yeah, he could come up with somebody that quickly. I think that's going to surprise everybody.
It is going to get shot down so quickly by the Senate. There's no way.
I know, and
this is going to be I mean, if you weren't already annoyed with politics, it is about to get shoved down your throat. The media is going to cover this, and they're going to sensationalize it. It's a big deal. I'm not saying it's not important, a judge, but this is going to be politicized as much as anything we've seen.
Well, not to downplay, but he's not just a judge. He's a United States Supreme Court justice, and ultimately any decision that is deemed to be unconstitutional, no matter where it comes from, ends up in the Supreme Court. And you have 9 people up there that have to come together and make decisions. And Justice Scalia has been a foundation on one side. And so with him being gone, and no one expected this, obviously it was an unexpected death, so his unexpected death I think is really going to cause distress for both sides.
Michael Gaddis from the Michael Gaddis Show. You're on 8 o'clock tonight?
That's right.
Yeah, you can check him out. What are you talking about later on the show?
I have an estate planning attorney on, and we're going to talk about the importance of getting a good estate plan. And you really should listen tonight, because I have Brenda Geiger of Geiger Law Office on, and I'm telling you, she is a wealth of knowledge, and her passion for estate planning comes across really well.
I want to remind our audience, if you're over the age of 18 and you have $5 to your name, you need an estate plan. If something happened to you, I can't tell you the stories that I have seen over the years of people that did not have an estate plan in place. You actually just went through something very similar,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
If you don't have, it's basically a directive. I think when people hear estate plan, they think real estate, a big estate, Rancho Santa Fe, I have this big, massive estate, I'm worth millions of dollars. It's not an estate plan. Explain what that is so anyone tuned in right now can take steps to get one in place. Explain what it is.
Well, I think you made a very good point. When you have an estate plan, it's not just for people who obviously are elderly or things like that. Anything can happen at any time. And what an estate plan basically does, it kind of outlines what you want done in the case of a crisis or in the case of your death. And as far
Crisis
as
like
medical directives, things like that. So let's say you become incapacitated.
I have a friend whose dad 2 weeks ago, motorcycle accident, is now quadriplegic and blind.
That's right. And if you don't
Isn't that
have
the most awful
it's
thing?
crazy.
Just one
And
day
you know what?
going out for a bike ride.
I guarantee he did not expect that to happen. It's not like he got up that morning and go, "Oh, I'm going to go out and get in a bike accident."
Yeah.
And so stuff happens, and you have to be prepared for it. And just like you said, if you're over the age of 18 and have anything, you really should talk to somebody who really knows what they're talking about. I mean, you need to have a plan. Don't wait for the train to hit you.
Yeah, it's a must. And nobody likes to think about death or these accidents happening, but they do. Why would you allow your legacy to be skewed with courts and judges and in family fighting and decision making? You get to make the decision of your legacy. I'm going to take an opportunity to have our audience text in. If you would like to get some information on this, we can help you. And I know that wasn't really your intent to talk about today. We just kind of threw you into that. But if you want to get some free advice on setting up an estate plan, we got a team that can do a free review for you. This is one of the many things we help people with. Go to, just send me a text. Text me the word info. That's all you need to do. Send the word info, and then I can send a link to your phone. In fact, what I'll do is I'll ask for your name and your email address, and we'll email it to you. So if you want to save us some time, email me your name and email address, and then I will get this out to any listener. If you do not have an estate plan, take a moment, pull out your phone, send a text, because I'm going to give you some really good information to help you on something that isn't just a should do or it's important to do. It's kind of a must do.
And if you don't think you need one, listen to the first segment of my radio show tonight at 8, and you'll understand why, even if you don't think you do, if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, you'll see why you need it, even at that age.
Well, text me, 846-9333. Of course, that's 619 San Diego. 846-9333. Just text me your name and email, and I'll email you some information. 846-9333. Gad, it's good to have you on the show, man. So you're out there. You're going to be on the American Dream soon, talking about, you talk about everything. Reverse mortgages, baby boomers, 10,000 people retiring a day.
That's right, every day.
I saw a stat that was over $1 trillion worth of equity in real estate for people that are over the age of 62. And the average savings in those same families is like $8,000.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
That's insane.
Why do you think people don't understand how valuable a reverse mortgage is? Probably because it's called a reverse mortgage. It's the worst name.
It is a terrible name. It is a terrible name. And I think because we've come from a society where in the past we have conventional values where, basic conservative values, that is, where, we're going to pay off our house, we're going to, and then, we're going to live in a free house. The problem is that life didn't work out the way we thought it did. And, our retirement savings didn't turn out to be what they are. And so you're sitting on a house that has a lot of equity in it, but you're living on a minimum budget. And that's where a reverse mortgage is starting to come in. And a lot of financial planners are starting to get on board with reverse mortgages.
It's about time. I feel like financial advisors, they avoid real estate, they avoid mortgages because they want to make more money managing your money. A real fiduciary, a real financial advisor is going to give you advice that's good for you. That might mean turning from a renter into a buyer. It might mean getting a reverse mortgage. I think calling it a reverse mortgage is a big mistake. It's also called a home equity conversion mortgage. It was developed under Reagan. It's a government-insured loan. You retain title. I mean, it's a brilliant product. But when you call it a reverse mortgage, anyone who's been paying on their mortgage for 30 years is like, huh, I don't want to go in reverse.
That's right.
But it moves you forward.
But what they don't understand also is that if you still have an existing mortgage payment, you're paying it whether you pay it out of your disposable income or you defer it to your principal. So, but
which means equity. You're paying with your equity.
That's right. You're just paying now. To be fair, you do earn interest on what you're deferring. However, if you have to weigh the pros and cons and the costs and benefits, and most people that I come across, getting a reverse mortgage is definitely weighing in their favor.
Yeah, well, michaelgaddis.com, you can help people on this, right? If they have questions,
yes.
Right? What I look at it as an opportunity and a solution, right? The opportunity is, we saw a lady who went to craigsewing.com, where I help advise people. And again, I don't get paid a dime, more or less, if people reach out. It's just what I do for a living outside of this show. Is I facilitate introductions, I give you advice. We had a gal who reached out. She took a reverse mortgage on her primary residence here in California, bought a home in Big Bear cash. So she took cash out, bought the home in Big Bear. So now she has 2 homes. Primary residence, no mortgage payment, lives there. 6 months a year, she goes to Big Bear. No mortgage payment because she's paid off. She took out cash out, she bought it cash. The other 6 months, she's renting it. So now she's got a cash flowing rental. She owns her home free and clear in Big Bear. The one here, no primary residence. She's getting rental income, and both those homes go up in value. She gets the equity, it's hers.
Reverse mortgages are the most personal types of loans out there. And you gave a perfect example of how someone can utilize a reverse mortgage to enhance their quality of life. I mean, This woman is living a different quality of life than she would if she had not gotten it.
Now that's the opportunity. And if you're just joining us, we have Michael Gaddis, radio show host here on KCBQ, the triple threat of real estate, legal, and mortgage banking, right here on the Craig Sewing Show. Good to have you on here, Michael. It also can be a solution, right? So you have a $1 million house, you owe $400,000 on it, but you're living on Social Security, you don't have much income. It could be one of those things where if you can't afford to live, you can get a monthly income out of it.
That's correct.
Right? You eliminate your mortgage payment, so that helps you live a little bit easier, and you can get equity distributions.
That's right.
And here's a beautiful thing: you can live in your home forever. I think people think they're giving their house back to the bank still.
Well, I think the key too is if you're thinking about a reverse mortgage, you need to go to somebody who really understands it. Take for example, how does a reverse mortgage affect Medi-Cal? If you might be worried about how it affects social benefits, you need to go to somebody who really understands that, so that when they have your best interests at heart when they're giving you advice. That's what I do. It's what I talk about with my elder law attorneys when I have them on my radio show. I ask them, how does a reverse mortgage affect social benefits, because that's a big concern for a lot of people. And you know what? You'd be pleasantly surprised of the minimal effects that a reverse mortgage would have on social benefits.
Well, what I do love is that financial advisors get it now, right?
Yes.
And you can also use it to buy a house, which is interesting. But financial advisors are advising their clients with it. Whether it makes sense for you, I mean, it really depends. What a random conversation we're having here today.
That's right. It's all over the place.
Well, it's good to have you in here. I came into the show earlier, and I was just frustrated. I'm frustrated with the state of politics. I'm frustrated with the state of journalism and news. It doesn't exist. And I'm frustrated with the fact that the only thing we get out of pop culture is the Kardashians and Kanye West and all this talk about the Grammys. It's like, my God, man. It's nauseating, all of it right now. So this is actually good advice. You made me feel better today.
I'm glad to help.
Can I get you to stick around?
I can.
All right, michaelgaddis.com, radio show host, also real estate finance expert. Make sure you visit him online, michaelgaddis.com. Stick around. We'll be back here in just a moment.